Welcome to this tutorial on how to create an instrumental version of Stormzy's Crown in Ableton Live Intro 11. Now that is the last time I'm going to say Ableton Live Intro 11, because from this point on I'm just going to refer to it as Ableton or perhaps Ableton Live. I'm not going to give it the full title every single time. This tutorial is designed for people who are literally just starting out, never done anything like this before. It's intended for my students in the classroom, and they're doing BTEC music. So, if there's anyone else using this tutorial, welcome, but that is who this is intended for. This is the first project like this that they will have done, so this is going to be very, very basic, and it's going to literally have every single button push that you could possibly need. So you might want to speed things up or skip things over. In fact, if you're one of my students, you might already have a bit of knowledge about Ableton, know a few things. You might find that you can skip over a few things. However, this is all about learning at your own pace. That's why I do it as videos. So let's get into it. So like I said, we're going to create an instrumental version of Crown by Stormzy. You will need for this, Ableton Live Intro 11. Said I wasn't going to say it again, but I did. You'll need Ableton. You will also need the printed resources, which I or your teacher will have provided for you, so that you are able to play the stuff that you need to be able to play to create this version. And the first thing that you'll need to do is open up Ableton. Now, when I said this was basic, I'm not going to go into, how to start Ableton up and, how to save and all that kind of thing. We'll show you that in lessons. It's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. I'm going to go through the actual button pushes of what you need to make the project. And also, you might be on a different platform from me. I'm working on a Mac. We also have Ableton on PCs in school. It's available on both. That's one of the beauties of it. And so I'm going to try and do most of this using mouse clicks, because that way we don't have to worry about people having different hotkeys and that kind of thing, or shortcuts. We hopefully will all be able to do the same thing. And you can see when the menus pop up, you can see exactly where I'm clicking and that kind of thing. So it should help you. So I've got an Ableton window opened up. And the first thing we need to do is some housekeeping. We need to get this ready to work in. Now, Ableton Live was originally intended to be a live performance tool, which is why it opens in this mode called Session View. The type of work that we're doing, we're using it more as a sort of traditional digital audio workstation. So actually we need to be in a different view, which is called Arrangement View. There are two different ways you can change this. You can either go up here. At the moment you can see the vertical yellow lines are selected. That's Session View. If you click here on the horizontal lines, you will go into Arrangement View, and that is what we want. And whatever type of computer you're on, if you press Tab, you go between those two. So make sure that you've got horizontal tracks in front of you rather than vertical ones, because that's where we're going to be doing all of our work. Okay, this is how I prefer to work. Now we've got some tracks here that we don't need. We've got 2 MIDI tracks, 2 audio tracks, and we've got some things down here called buses, which we don't need. So let's start by getting rid of them. We're going to leave the top MIDI track in, because we're going to need that. But the one that says 2 by, I'm going to right click on. I'm going to go to delete. Audio, same thing, right click, delete, audio, right click, delete. I'm going to take out this thing, which is called a reverb bus. We might come back to that later. And I'm going to take this one out as well, which is the delay bus. Okay, leave the master. You can't delete it even if you wanted to. You can change its color. I'm not going to, quite like that purple that they've got selected there. And you should be left with 1 MIDI track. We're nearly there with a setup project. The only other thing we need to do is set the BPM, because if I turn on the metronome at the moment, which is these 2 dots up here, the white dot and the black dot, and I press space, we are currently set at 120 beats per minute, and that is too fast for Stormzy's Crown. We need to turn it down a bit to 108. So the easiest way to do this, or the way I do it, is double click on it, then type with your keyboard 108, press enter, and now a little bit steadier on the old click track or the metronome, depending on what you want to call it. Both perfectly acceptable terms, and we're now the right speed to be able to record our first track. And our first track is going to be a piano track, because the first thing you hear in Stormzy's Crown is the piano intro. So we're going to do that first. So we need a piano sound for this track, because at the moment this is a MIDI track, there's nothing on it. So if I press my keyboard, which you should have picture in picture, you can see I have no sound coming out. I do have a bit of reading coming through. I've got signal coming through, but I don't have any sound. So go to Sounds, Piano and Keys, drop that down, And if you scroll down, you'll see one called grandpiano.adg. Don't worry about the ADV one. You want the ADG. I'm going to grab hold of it, drag it over to where I've got that nice blue icon there. And actually, I like that blue. Okay, Ableton opens up with different colours depending on its mood, and I'm going to keep that blue for once. If you want to change it, you can right-click on there, and there's the colour palette. You can make it pink if you want. Oh, no, I'm not going to be able to find that original colour, am I? So I've got this nice sort of light blue colour. And that is our first track. Now, there are lots of different ways of doing different things in a sequencer, right? If I was just doing this for myself, I would probably just literally play in the piano chords like this. Okay, and I'd play all the notes at the same time. I might even do it two-handed. Okay, however, not everyone is going to have mad piano skills, and you don't need, not saying that I've got mad piano skills, by the way, not everyone is going to have piano skills. And the whole point of the sequencer really is to be able to make music without necessarily having instrumental skills. You're learning more about the technical side of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a layered approach where we're recording one note at a time, layer them up, and that creates the chords. If you don't want to do it like this and you think, well, I have got mad piano skills, and you want to record it where you play all the chords and you play all the notes at the same time, be my guest. Go for it. You'll actually save yourself some time. Your project will be a little bit neater and you'll be all good. But for this, I said it was basic. I'm going to do it as a layered approach. So if I pull down my resources again, we can see this is the first section that we're going to call. We're going to piano intro. Make sure you've got this sheet in front of you. And this intro section here is 4 bars. And you can see I've labelled everything up. So we have chords at the beginning and the letters are in the same order as the notes are. So this note on top here is the letter on top. That's a G sharp. And if you look at it carefully, you'll notice that actually that note doesn't change. You've just got 16 G sharps, okay? 16 G sharps. That's all you need. So in order to do that, all you have to do is find G sharp on your keyboard. Now, I'm using a mini keyboard so that I can have as much of the keyboard in shot as possible. You might be using a mini keyboard yourself. You might be using a full-size keyboard. We have both at school. People have different things. You might need to use the transpose button. So I'm going to transpose my keyboard up so that everything jumps up an octave. And now I've got G sharp 4, which is actually the one that we're supposed to be using for this intro. You can hear that's more like it for the first chord. So I'm going to do 16 of these as in time with the beat as I can. So I'm going to hit record. Wow, what an exciting part that is. You might say to me, that doesn't sound anything like Stormzy Crown. You're absolutely right. At this stage, it doesn't. We're going to make it so that it does. Okay, first things first, you can see I pressed stop very slightly after I started bar 5. Don't want that. So I'm going to grab hold of this square icon thing. I'm just going to make it nice and neat. You might have carried on a little bit further. So we're ending up with 4-bar chunks. Everything we do in this song is recorded in 4-bar chunks for a couple of reasons. One, that's how your resources are written out. So you've got 4-bar chunks up there. And also, it just makes sense. We're going to do a lot of copying and pasting and some looping and that kind of things later. It makes real sense to do it in 4-bar chunks. Most music is in 4-bar chunks, to be honest. Sometimes multiples of 4, but often in 4-bar chunks or 8s or 16s. Okay, so if we double click on here, the top of the bar where it says grand piano, it will open up the editor here, and you can see I've got 16 G sharp 4s, which is what I said I wanted. But if you look at them carefully, you can see I was pretty in time. They're pretty on the beat. They're not exact. And seeing as we have a nice feature called quantization on our sequencer that can make things perfectly in time for us, we may as well use it. So I'm going to right click anywhere in this window, and my menu pops up and it says quantize. It also says quantize settings. We might need to change some of those later, but for the time being, just click on quantize and everything snaps into perfect time. You can hear that now, spot on, bang on. Okay, spot on. Now it's possible you might have played a wrong note. I mean, you might have done. You might have accidentally, I don't know, hit a G natural or something. Let's imagine that had happened. Okay, let's say that, you know, one of these had it had turned out like this. Okay, that's not right. You might have played a wrong note. You might even, I don't know, have played 2 notes at the same time. So you know, we need to do. You might have done this, right? Okay, anything's possible. But the great thing about a sequencer is it's really easy to tidy things up. So if you have got any wrong notes in there, just click on it and press the delete key, and it will disappear. I've now messed this up because I've made one of them much shorter. In fact, I got rid of the new note, didn't I? I should have kept that one because it sounds more natural. Okay, there we go. We can even, this one is at the end is a tiny bit shorter than all the others. We can stretch it out. There we go. Now, if you need to put in extra notes, all you need to do is put yourself into draw mode. You can do that by clicking in the little pencil up here. The shortcut for that here on the Mac is a B. Okay, and then you can click away to your heart's content. You can add different things in. You can compose and all sorts. And I've just ruined Stormzy's crown. I hope he doesn't come after me. So there we go. So that's how to add extra stuff in. Put yourself into draw mode and just click away. And you've got these nice controls down here as well that say velocity. These are really useful. The velocity is how hard I press the key. You can see I was pretty consistent, right? But, you know, they weren't all the same, and that's good, right? We do not want all the velocities the same, because if we had all the velocities the same, it would sound like a robot playing the piano. Whereas with slightly different amounts of velocity, they sound a bit more natural. So don't go through and spend ages putting everything into the same velocity. If you were going to do that, you could have just pressed B, put yourself in draw mode, and clicked in all of those notes, and then set them to whatever you want them to be down here. Don't do that. Okay, use the keyboard to get it sounding more natural. Okay, it was a lot of information, but I hope it was clear. Here's another one of those times where we split off and we go into potentially different routes. You could either, to record the next layer, you can do it two ways, right? You can either duplicate this track by right-clicking on the header, clicking duplicate, and you get a perfect version of what you just recorded, okay? And you could change all of these notes, right, so that they match the second layer, right? You could do that. Or you could create yourself a new grand piano track, get rid of this, and record it completely fresh. I'm going to do it both ways just to help you out. Each has its own merit. So if we look at the second layer, that's the second note down in each chord, or the second letter, you will see that it goes 4 E's, 4 D's, 6 E's, and then 2 D sharps. Okay, so you've got the resources in front of you. You should be able to refer to that. So 4 E's, 4 D's, 6 E's, and 2 D sharps. So let's do that. So we said that this was G sharp 4. We don't want it to be G sharp 4. We want it to be an E. Okay, so I'm going to drag it down until it says da-da, E. And I'm going to do the same thing with 4 of them, because there are 4 of them. All right. And then the next note, we said that we wanted that to be a D. Not D sharp. Okay, a D. So again, I'm going to pull these down here. 4 Ds. Then what did we say? We said 6 E's. Okay, we're still on G sharp. We don't want that. So I'm just going to pull them down. Good, good, good. And there were 6 of these. And then the last one, we wanted 2 D sharps. Okay, D hashtags, which are completely different from D's, so make sure you get the right one. Okay, and now it sounds a bit more like Crown. Listen. Don't get me wrong, it's not the song yet, but it is getting there. It is, okay? That's one way of doing it. It's probably not how I would do it, because I'm faster on the piano. So I probably would delete this, and I'd probably put the playhead back to the beginning. I'd probably hit record. Whoops. I've made a classic error. I am recording still in my original track, right? So I've recorded over what I recorded in the first place. That happens a lot. I tend to find it happens to me a lot. I forget these things. But there's this wonderful key, which is pretty much universal. It's either Command Z or Control Z, whatever platform you're on, or you can go Edit, Undo, okay, and it just gets rid of it for you. You need to make sure, if you want to record in a new track, that that track is armed. To do that, there's a little clock face. Don't know why it's a clock face. I'm not even sure if it is a clock face. It kind of looks like a clock face to me. And it's red when you click on it. And that means that we're now recording in this second track. So let's do that again. This is why I like to do these videos live, because if I make mistakes, I can show you how to get out of things, right? Never panic. There's always a way. If you need to call me over or call your music teacher over in class and say, I've done something, I don't know what I've done and I can't undo it, we will help you. Don't worry. Here we go. 4 E's, 4 D's, 6 E's, 2 D sharps. Okay. And actually, there's another reason why I prefer that method. I've now got another set of velocities. So again, it's not sounding quite so robot-y. It's sounding a bit more natural because you can see we've got sort of a range of velocities in here. Going to quantize it by right-clicking. Why did I click on duplicate? No idea. You don't know. I don't know. No one knows. Clicked in the wrong place. Let's try again. Click here. Go on quantize. There we go. Just double check that everything has gone to the right place. Quantization is brilliant. But if your note was so far out of time that it was closer to the next beat, the computer will have just put it on the closest beat. It's not a human being. It doesn't actually understand music at all. Okay? It just does what it's told. So be very, very careful. How shall I do the third track? Well, let's do this one by playing in. I'm going to go duplicate, so I'm going to have a third piano track. At the moment, we've got 2 of the middle layer. We need to turn this one into the bottom layer. So if you look at resources again, for this third layer, we have 4 C sharps, then 4 Bs, then 4 C sharps, 6 C sharps, and this weird note at the end, we have a B sharp, which is not a note that we come across all that often, especially in the type of learning that we've been doing up until now. B sharp is another way of writing C. There's a very complicated reason why the person who wrote this out originally doesn't use C, because we've got C sharps, the key signature, but we don't need to go into that in that much detail. Just know that B sharp and C are the same thing. So we're going to go 4 C sharps, 4 Bs, 6 C sharps, and 2 Cs, right? And you could do that by going through and clicking and, you could do that by going through, clicking, and get everything in the right place, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to do it my fastest way, which is I'm going to record using the keyboard. So here we go. I've done it again, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm in the wrong track. Thought, that's strange. Why can I not hear all of the notes I'm supposed to be hearing? And because I've made the same rookie error. Here we go. There we go. Can we agree now? This sounds like Crown. Okay, we now have all the chords that we need. You need all the notes of the chord to make it in. Going to quantize. I was pretty in time. The computer can do it better for me. Always check. Everything's in the right place. Great. Fabulous. Okay, absolutely fabulous. Now, if I were playing the chords out, like that, where I'm playing them all at the same time, that would be my right hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename each track. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it piano right hand top layer. Then I'm going to do this one. Piano, can't spell, that's good. Piano right hand middle layer. And this one, can you predict what I'm going to do, folks? Rename piano right hand bottom layer. Okay, and I'm doing that now because I'm about to put a left hand part in. Now we only need 1 layer. We only ever need 1 layer for the left hand part, because you can see if you look at the left hand part, which is the second step down, it's only ever got 1 note going on at a time. So we only ever need 1 layer. So let's go duplicate. That didn't work. Let's go duplicate. There we go. I'm going to change this one. Rename piano left hand. There we go. And I'm going to remind myself right now, right, to arm this track, so I'm recording it. Now, because I duplicated it, it's taken the bottom layer of the right hand. So click on that and delete. There we go. Now this one is a very important part. Why can't I get back to the beginning? Oh, because I'm not at the beginning. That's why. Scrolling around. Okay, this one is a very important part. It adds a lot of interest. Okay, it goes like this. Okay, that's C sharp, D sharp E, A, G sharp. Okay, it's quite easy to play. You might need to practice it a couple of times before you have a go at it. I would recommend playing it in rather than click it in, especially that extra note at the end of the first bar. It's worth doing. And now it's going to really sound like Crown. You ready? Here we go. Okay, there we go. There's our intro. Is that the octave I wanted? Is that the octave I wanted? No, I want it a bit lower than that, don't I? I should have been down here. Silly me. Okay, get rid of that. Go down here. That's better. Okay, thought it sounded a little bit odd because it wasn't the right notes. Let's try that again. You can see everyone makes mistakes. Even people who've been doing this stuff for years and teach it make loads of mistakes. That's better. There we go. Now we've got the intro to Crown. Now we've got the intro to Crown. Always double click, quantize, use the features. Okay, if you don't, what's the point of having them? And we should now have. Oh, look at that. We've got the intro to Crown. Our first little section is completed. But it doesn't sound brilliant, does it? It's all right. It's got all the right notes. But it doesn't sound very natural. It sounds like a computer playing it. Probably because it is. So we need to do our first little trick to make things sound a little bit more natural. We're going to add our first effect, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to add some reverb onto this to make it sound more natural. Now, reverb is short for reverberation, and all enclosed spaces, all rooms or caves, everywhere that's enclosed, everywhere that is indoors has reverberation. They are reflected sounds that come back to a microphone or a listener, and they help you to feel and hear how large the space is that you are recording in. So if you're in a cave, you're going to get a lot of reverberation. People call it echo. Not quite the same thing. Echo is a type of reverberation. Not all reverberation is echo, so be careful with the word echo. But it will be echoey. It will have lots of reverb in a cave, whereas if you're in a cupboard, there will be almost no reverb whatsoever. So we can add artificial reverb. We can make things sound like they're recorded in different spaces than they actually are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some reverb onto all of these piano tracks, and I'm going to make it sound like they're in a slightly bigger space. And what that is going to do is it's going to join the notes together a little bit because they're going to vibrate, they're going to reverberate on for a little bit longer. And that is going to make it sound more natural. It's also going to sound like we're using a pedal, which a real pianist would do. Okay, if you listen to the original recording of this that I'm going on through in lessons, which I can't put on for copyright reasons on YouTube, you will hear that he's using the sustain pedal, which is just blurring his notes together. So we need to recreate that effect. So I'm going to go up to audio effects, and I'm going to go to reverb and resonance, pull that down, pull reverb down. And I've done this before, okay? I've done a preparation run of this, okay? And so I know that I want a big room reverb to make this sound pretty natural. So I'm going into rooms. You can see there are loads of different options. You can make it sound like a corridor. You make it sound like it's in a garage. You make it sound like it's in your living room or your office. Don't quite know why you'd want those. If you go into big halls, they've got, you know, churches and concert halls and large stages, all kinds of things. Have a play around, right? You might not want to put on the same reverb as me, but I know that to get an effect that I like, I want this one called Big Room, right? And I'm going to drag it and I'm going to stick it on all 4 of my piano tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that when I did that, this settings box popped up down here. This is the setting for that Big Room reverb. You can change things. Be careful when changing reverb presets. Very easy to make reverb sound absolutely horrible. But have a play. The worst thing you could do at the end of the day is have to take it off or undo it or whatever. Have a play. Be creative. See what we can come with. But provided all that has gone on, it should sound much better. Look at that. Just turn the metronome off. How much better does that sound? Right? That sounds like an actual piano player. It's smoother. Call that legato in music. It's more interesting. It's all good. Okay, I'm going to put the metronome back on so I don't forget it later. Okay, that is our intro. Our intro is finished. Okay, the next thing that we need to record, because nothing else happens in the intro, it's literally just piano, is this first chorus line of the piano. It's going to be the only thing we do again because we're not recording the vocals in the sequencer. The reason for that is vocals in a sequencer sound terrible because you'll be using synthetic sounds. We're not doing that. I told you we're creating an instrumental version. We're effectively creating a karaoke track. We are not going to record the vocals. In lesson, we will probably take your projects once they are finished and we will add on a real vocalist. Hopefully not me, because I'm terrible. But someone in the class, or someone beyond the class maybe, could add in that vocal line. It will sound a million times better. Pianos sound fine. Guitars sound fine. Drums sound fine. Vocals always sound naff in a sequencer. So use a real vocalist, folks. It sounds much better. That was a very long way of saying we need to record this piano line. So this one is very, very similar. The chords are, well, they're identical, in fact. But the left hand is slightly different. And the whole thing has been transposed down an octave. So that when the singer comes in, it's just a little bit bassier and a bit richer to sit underneath the bass. Okay? So I'm going to do this again in layers. Now, shall I just record them? Or shall I alter them? You know what? I recorded them last time, didn't I? So I'm going to copy and paste this time and do some editing. Going to be a bit crafty. So we've got our 4 layers. All right, 3 for the right hand and 1 for the left, which is exactly what we're going to end up with this. So we don't need to create any new tracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the top layer and I'm going to copy it. Now, there are various different ways that you can do this. You can go edit, copy. Very long-winded way of doing it. Or you can do Command-C. Or what will that be? Control-C if you're on a PC. And you can copy just like you would in a Word document. Okay, copy. Put the playhead here at the end of what you've already recorded. And paste. Which again, you can go edit, paste if you want to. But I'm going to use the shortcut, which is Command-V. Also worth pointing out, if you're on one of our school computers, the command button is the Windows button, because we have Windows keyboards. Okay, so double click in here, and it says G-sharp 4, because that's what we recorded. We don't want G-sharp 4, we want G-sharp 3. Okay, we want 16 of them, so I'm going to select all of them, and I'm just going to drag them down, right, until I get to G-sharp 3. There it is, and now... Okay, the reverb's still there, still sounds quite nice, but it's much, much lower. I'm going to do exactly the same thing with our second layer. I'm going to select all of them. Did I tell you how to do that? I'm not sure I did. Okay, the shortcut command for that is Command-A or Control-A, or go up here and there should be a select all. Yes, there is. Okay, so it's there on the menus. So click in here. Click in the editor. Right, don't click up here because that'll select all the tracks. Click in here, select all of the notes, copy them. In fact, I'm talking absolute rubbish. What am I talking about? Click on the header of the track and copy that, which is what I did before. I don't know what I'm talking absolute rubbish. Now you want to select all of them in here and you want to drag all of them down. So the first note is going to be E4, so the first note is going to become E3. Where is it? Keep going. E3. There we go. Does that sound right? Is that the right notes? Yeah, sounds a bit weird at the moment. Copy. Paste. Take the third one. Select all of them. C-sharp 4 needs to become C-sharp 3. Hope this works out. Okay, this should sound... What have I done? I've copied something wrong somewhere. Let's have a look. Oh, that's what it is. I've put all the G-sharp 3s. I've done exactly what I told you not to do. Okay? And I've put them on Gs instead of G-sharps. That's better. That worried me for a second. Well, it doesn't sound right. See, even people have been doing this for years. Still making mistakes all the time. Okay? And there we go. We've got our chords for our chorus 1 section. So we recorded from here to here, right? Now the left hand is almost the same as before, but it doesn't have this extra little passing note in it. So I'm just going to record it fresh. I'm going to make sure I'm quite low on my keyboard. Yep. Okay, and I'm going to put this in as a new track. So I'm mixing my techniques, right? Sometimes I'm copying, sometimes I'm pasting, sometimes I'm editing, sometimes I'm re-recording, okay? Use different things that work for you. Okay, nice and straightforward. Need to quantize that one, because we quantize everything. There we go. And we should now have... Like I said, I can't sing. But that is where Stormzy, his wonderful, talented self, starts singing over the top of this. So if we run those two together, we've got our intro. Sounds pretty nice with the reverb. Okay, but it just doesn't do it once. Okay, it does it 4 times. So what we need to do is the 4 bars that we just recorded, we need to select all of it. And to do that, I'm going to press the Shift key while I click on them. And I'm going to select all of them. Then I'm going to copy. And I'm going to paste in 1, move along, 2, 3. So I've now got 4 copies. Let's zoom out. So you've got your intro here, and then you've got 4 copies, which will be the entire length of the verse. Now, shall we start making it sound a little bit more like a grime track, which is actually what it is. Let's just check we've got the right length. Turn off that metro. At that point in the song, there is a gap. There is a full bar of nothing, right? And then we're going to record our next section. So bar 21 here should have nothing in it. So our next thing is going to start at bar 22. That's weird. It's gone into 2s. There we go. So our next thing, 22, 4 beats in each bar. It looks weird with 2. This bar should be completely empty. Things should start there. Okay, and it's still piano. We're going to put the piano in first, and we need the verse section. Okay, the verse section. Now here, there's a lot less movement in the piano chords. It is exactly the same thing, same notes, same harmony. Nothing has changed. But instead of playing 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just held for 4. Okay, so they are slightly different. So the bass part is identical. Right, so I'm going to copy the bass part and I'm going to put that across so I've got something to play. Note the gap, that is the bar of silence. Okay, our left hand does not change at all. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 G sharps. 5 because there are 2 chords in the last bar. Okay, let's actually show you rather than just telling about it. So we've got G sharp, G sharp, G sharp, and then 2 quick ones, G sharp, G sharp. You remember we had 16 before. Now we've got 5. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. I'm going to record them. And I've done it again. I've recorded on the wrong track again. Look at me, all over the place. Should have been the top layer, of course. Shouldn't I? And actually, I'm not sure I've got the right... Yeah, I'm too low on the keyboard as well. That's better. Okay, so actually, that was a good thing that it went wrong, ladies and gents. It was a good thing. Here we go. G sharp. G sharp. G sharp. 2 quick ones. Okay, there's that one. What am I going to do? Double click. Quantize. I'm working quite fast now. Okay, next one is E for 4 beats, D for 4 beats, E for 4 beats, E for 2 beats, D sharp for 2 beats. Same as before. Here we go. E, D, E. Oh, I've done it again. I'm all over the place today. Arm the track you want to record in. E, D, E, E, D sharp. Lovely jubbly. Oh, I didn't shorten this previous track. Keep everything neat and tidy, otherwise you'll end up in a hell of a mess. Okay, quantize. Marvellous. Third layer. I'll just do it as I say it this time. It goes C sharp. I've done it again. You know what it is? It's because I'm used to GarageBand, and in GarageBand, I've been working in GarageBand today, and if you click on a new track in GarageBand, it automatically arms it for you. I'm just out of the habit. Okay? You get yourself in the habit. Here we go. C sharp, B, C sharp, C sharp, C. Do you remember how we said it was a B sharp? Yep, okay. Now, that one, we're going to use that a lot. We're going to do many, 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 many loops. Why didn't that quantize? It did. It is a classic example of where quantization can mess you up. Okay, I played that note very slightly closer to the previous beat than I did to the beat it was supposed to be on, and as a result, it's in the wrong place. Luckily, click it, drag it, and we're all good. And it looks like it's happened on the previous layer as well. Dun, dun, dun. It has. We don't want that. So check your tracks, ladies and gentlemen. See, there's one wrong there too. The top one. It's gone too early. Oh, hello. Now I've lost one entirely. Click it back in. There we go. Check that again. Sounds nicer with the reverb. Almost sounds like a real human being. Which it kind of is and it kind of isn't. So, you know, there we go. Why is this out of place? There we go. Right. Now, again, I've got 4 of those. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to copy them. 1, 2, 3. Zoom out a bit. Okay, so this is going to be our verse. This is where Stormzy starts rapping. And when Stormzy starts rapping, things get a little bit more interesting than just the piano. So at this point, we need some drums. Right? People might panic. I can't play drums. What do I know about drums? I can't play drums either. Well, I can a little bit. I'm not very good. But we can create a pretty convincing sounding drum part for this. All we have to do is add a new track. So we're going to right click over here where there's an empty area. Don't click here because that'll bring up this one and that won't show you what you need. Okay, so we're going to go insert MIDI track. Oh, orange. Don't like that. No, let's go pink. Pink for drums. Don't know why. I just want pink. Okay, and I'm going to go over here to. I'm going to use sounds again. It does have a drums option, but I don't use that. Or maybe I do. Hang on, I'm in the wrong place. I am in the wrong place. Completely the wrong place. Click on drums, not on sounds. What was I talking about? Okay, and the top one there is 505 core kit. Now, I've already done this before. Like I said, I've already investigated my sounds. I have decided that 505 works best for me. You are more than welcome to go through the hundreds, well, not hundreds, to go through the many, many different drum options that you have. And if you click on them, it gives you a little demo of each of them so that what they sound like. Nice. Acousticord kit. But we're going to use the 505, okay, which is a bit of a classic actually. So I'm going to drag that over to our MIDI track, which was pink. And there we go. Now, if you play your keyboard, you will get bits of the drum kit. Okay, and that is how we are going to record a drum kit without ever going anywhere near a real drum kit. Right, so I'm going to set it here. And I have, I hope helpfully, written out the drum part. Now, you'll probably need to be shown in lesson how this actually goes, right? You probably will. But you may have already performed it or you're going to perform it live depending on what you're doing and where you are on the project. so you can learn it. All it is kick and snare at first. Don't worry about the hi-hat at the top. Don't worry about that. Okay, so we're just going to go 1. Double here. Okay, there's a little extra bit at the beginning. Sorry, at the end. Okay, now if you want to learn that, the easiest way to do it is just to listen to the song, the original, and learn how it goes. That's why I did it. Okay, it's just a little bit of extra funkiness at the very end. So I'm going to record that in. You can see what I'm doing while I do it. Okay, with a picture-in-picture. So here we go. Assuming my camera is still working, of course, which the red light is showing, so it should be. So here we go. I'm going to record. I'm on the right track. I'm armed. We're all set up. Here we go. Why didn't that work? Don't know. Here we go. Now, you don't need to record more than one. Okay, you can copy it in the same way as you always did. Now, I did that without the metronome on, so that was pretty dodgy. I think I'm going to do that again, because if I quantize that, they'll probably go in the wrong place. Double. Okay, little extra bit there. I do like that. I do like the fact they didn't just use a really, really dull beat. Right, let's quantize it. We might need to do some manual fixing. Let's find out. Double. Good. Ah, good. Actually got it right this time. When I did my practice version, I had to spend some more time on that. Okay, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to copy that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's our drum kit. First layer. I said that there was a hi-hat in here, and there is a hi-hat in here. Okay, it just happens on every 8th beat. Okay, nice and simple. Now the hi-hat is on an F sharp. All right, so if I duplicate our track that we've already got, that doesn't work again. Duplicate. There we go. Arm that. Take out this stuff. Okay, and I'm just going to do 1 again, same as I would before. Okay, there's our hi-hats appeared nicely. Select all of that. Quantize, always. Okay, sounds okay. Okay, and that is exactly what I've written out here. But I've written it out wrong. Why have I written it out wrong? I've written it out wrong on purpose, because when we do it in class, we're going to have a real drummer play that. And what actually happens is really, really fiddly for a real drum to do. So it was much easier to just have a hi-hat on every beat and every half beat. But in the Stormzy track, it actually only happens on every half beat. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to take out the first one and then every other one. So click, delete. Keep that in. So I'm taking the first one of each pair out. Right. You need to concentrate while you do this. Make sure you get the right one. If you don't get the right one, it's going to sound really weird. Okay, and now we've got... That is what the beat actually goes like. Now you could, if you wanted to, you don't even have to play it all in. You could just literally sit there with you could open a new region, which is what these coloured areas are called, and you could just click in the right places. But that's not how my brain would do it. So, that's not how I'm doing it. That's not how I'm teaching you to do it either. So, click, click, click. And now we've got our drum kit. And that's it for this section. We're going to do the chorus as well, which has a very slightly different drum pattern in it, but we'll get to that in a little while. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to add in the bass part. Okay, now the bass part is quite easy. It's got some funny rhythms in it that, again, you just need to kind of listen to the song to be able to do. Okay, but we need a sound. Before we even attempt that, we need a new track. So I'm going to create a new track by clicking here, insert MIDI track. Again, that doesn't work. My mouse is all over the shop today. Might be running out of batteries. Red. No, I don't want red. Green. There we go. That's got some nice complementary colours now. I think they're complementary. You might think they look disgusting. But that's there we go. So I've done this before. I've looked it up. I know that what I want is under sounds, under bass, and it's actually the first one there, B bass. I think works quite nicely for this. So I'm going to drag it across, drop it down, give the computer a minute to think about it. Okay, and that gives this sound. Right, now the bass part that we want goes like this. Okay, that is the bass part. Right, I'll do that again a bit slower. So it's C sharp, E, up to a higher E, B, A, hold for 6 beats, G sharp, B sharp, which remember is the same as a C, and that's the end of the pattern. Okay, that's a little bit fiddly, and also it's way too loud and various other things. We're going to adjust a few things once we have recorded, but let's just get it in first of all. Okay, so you might need to practice this one. I said it was quite easy, but actually to play on the keyboard is a little bit fiddly. So here we go. Okay, there it is. Double click. Quantize. Check this one, because if you're a little bit out with your E and your B in the middle, okay, that is good. Shorten it so it's the right length. Copy, paste, paste, paste. It's dominating at the moment. It's way too loud. Okay, this is the nice thing about a sequencer, right? You have full control over the sound that you are making. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to loop this section by right clicking on its header. I'm going to go loop selection, and that's just going to loop that bit over and over again. Okay, now I've double clicked on the track header, and this here, these are the controls for that bass part. Hope you can hear me over the top of it. Turn my volume down just a smidge. Okay, now in the Stormzy original it's close to that sound, but it's just a bit more mellow. This is a bit too intense. So I'm going to change a few of the settings around. Just going to reduce the frequency. Now it's a bit more bouncy. That's much better, okay? So I've just turned I've gone down to 411, but whatever works for you. So turn the frequency dial here, just clicked on it. You can turn it right up, you can turn it right down. Okay, and then it's too loud as well. So over here on the side, we have some level controls for this. And this blue bar here, that is the volume. By default, it's at 0 or unity gain, so nothing's being done to it. Let's just turn it down a smidge. I'm going to take it down to about -4, which is -4 decibels. And that's already a better balance. And it means that as we're working on it, it's not going to drive us nuts. Okay, and that's the bass part done. We're going to use the bass part again later in the chorus, but we don't need to add anything else to it right at the moment. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, it's the guitar part. Okay, now the guitar part only has 2 notes in it, but if it wasn't there, I'd miss it, or you'd miss it. Okay, if you haven't listened to the song carefully, you probably haven't even noticed it's got a guitar in it. But it's there for 2 notes, and we're going to put them in. You could, if you were falling behind with your work or something that was taking you forever, or you just couldn't get the hang of it, you could leave out the guitar part, and no one's going to cry. I'll notice, but no one's going to cry. Okay, so I'm going to go new track, And it's a MIDI track. It's done it again. Something really weird with my ass today. Brown. Oh, Lord, no. Okay, let's go. Run out of colours. Yellow. That's better. It's better than brown, that's for sure. If you go to sounds and you go to guitars, where's guitars? I know it's there because it is, but I can't see it. Guitar Unplugged. That's why I couldn't see it. One of these is called nylon. Nylon. Where is it? Basic nylon guitar. There we go. Drag that over. Okay. Oh, that's very low. There's the guitar sound. Now, that does not fit as it is. We're going to play in the part, and again, we're going to change the parameters and make it sound a little bit different. So, the guitar part only has 2 notes. Okay, it has a C sharp and a B. Those 2 notes. You need to wait. Okay, so when the track starts, it'll go wait, wait, wait. C sharp, wait, 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 B. Okay, there are 3 beats of silence before each note. And it's going to go like this. Wait, wait, wait. Wait, wait, wait. Okay? That's it. Let's extend that out so we've got full region. Double click. You can see I was quite close, but I wasn't bang on. Quantize. There we go. Now I think in the original, it might be a sample, might be a real guitar, not entirely sure. In the original, it's a sort of steel guitar sound that kind of goes wah instead of ping, which is what we've got at the moment. So we need to change some of the parameters. So in order to do that, double click on the track header, and here are the parameters that you have in front of you. Okay, so these are all the things. Now, they're very complicated. Have a play around and see what you want. But in order to achieve what we want, we need to take the filter cutoff off, because then it will make it much, much softer in its approach. We're going to turn the vibrato, which is how much it shakes, right the way up. I'm going to turn the tone all the way up. I'm going to take a little bit off the attack. Okay, and I'm going to turn the decay all the way up. And that hopefully should give me the sound I'm after. That's it. Okay, it's barely even there. And if you listen to the original, that is actually how it goes. Okay, I'm going to turn off the loop by pressing this button up here so it carries on. And now that I've got the sound that I want, I'm going to click and paste. Okay. Quite happy with that. Okay, we're nearly there for the the rap verse. We're nearly there for the verse, but I've created a part which I really like, which again, if you're running short of time or you find this really hard, you don't need to do. And I said we weren't going to do vocal parts as well. I said they sound dreadful. But the vocal parts in the Stormzy live performance that we've been listening to in class, they're really important and they add to the harmony. So I have created these 2 lines of backing vocals, but we're not going to put them in as some horrible robotic sound at all. We're not. We're going to put them in as string tracks. Okay, and it kind of works. Trust me, it does. It kind of works. So I'm going to go new track, MIDI track, of course. It did it again. Insert MIDI track. There we go. Ooh, light blue. No, it's going to be hard to tell from the piano. Let's go dark blue. And then the sound that you want. If you come over here and you go to sounds and you go to strings, the sound that you want is magnetic strings, which is here. And you're going to want 2 of them because you're going to do 2 layers. So you may as well duplicate. Make sure you're in the right track. Make sure that you're armed. Okay, and the parts that you're going to record sound like this. Let me get this started in the right place. I'll let it go around once before I start. Hang on a second. Why have I got no sound? I thought I just armed that. Sure I did. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, so the first one goes G sharp, A, B, G sharp, G sharp, F sharp, G sharp, B, A, B, G sharp, G sharp, F sharp. Okay, I could have actually recorded that while I was talking to you, but I didn't. I wanted to show you the sheet music. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. Here we go. G sharp, A, B, G sharp, G sharp, F sharp, G sharp, B, A, B, G sharp, G sharp, F sharp. Okay, as usual, shorten it up, tidy it up, quantize it up. There we go. And that's a nice line. Now they're too loud. We're going to turn them down in a minute when we record the second one. Okay, I'm going to go straight into the second one. And it's very similar notes. It's just a little bit lower. And this one really adds some nice harmonic interest. So here we go. This one goes E. Did it again, recording over the same track. How many times am I going to do this in one video? Honestly, I don't know. Take two. E. F sharp, G sharp, E, C sharp, C, E, G sharp, F sharp, G sharp, E, C sharp, C. Okay, there we go. Just doing a quick camera check. Yep, we're all good. Quantize the life out of it. There we go. And then turn them down. We're going to go a long way down. We're going back to minus 25. I like round numbers, so I'm going to go actual 25. Okay, right down to minus 25. So they're not really going to be very present at all. They are backing at the end of the day, but they're really important. Listen. Might be a bit too low, actually. Let's try about 15. That's more like it, I think. Actually, we might want more of one of the other. I don't know. You don't have to copy me exactly. In fact, please don't copy me exactly. And then when you've done that, actually, I'll say I've recorded that at the start of the chorus. That only happens in the second half. And I said chorus, I meant verse. That only happens in the second half. So we should have those in the second half of our second 8. Right? Good. So that is coming on really, really nicely. All we've got to do now is record the chorus and we're done, because the whole song repeats. If you don't get this far, you'll still have plenty of work that you've demonstrated through here. So don't worry about the length of it necessarily, but try and get as many of these parts and as many of these techniques in as possible. So for the chorus, we need to get the piano sorted first of all. There's no gap this time. But what we need to record now is we need to record chorus 2, which is very slightly different. The pianist plays it slightly differently in the original that we've been listening to, which remember is a live performance, just to create a little bit more interest and a little bit more texture. You could, again, if you are behind in your work and you want to, you could just use all of your piano layers again. You absolutely could. You could just copy all of these into here and it would work fine. Right? In fact, I'll show you that. So if you just do this and then you paste this into here, that will work fine. It will. But that's not what I'm going to do. And for this one, I'm not going to do it as loads of layers. I'm going to do it as recording on the piano. So if you do need to do it as layers, copy and paste your layers. But if you don't, if you've got a little bit of keyboard skill, then do it as I'm about to show you. Okay, so we need to arm the top piano track. Okay, that's the pattern that we need to recreate. Oh, got it wrong at the end. What's it at the end? Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, slightly odd notes going on here. So, if you don't want to do that, just copy and paste your previous layers. But I'm going to do it. Okay, I've got that nicely in there. I'm going to quantize it. Check it's gone right. Oh, it sounds so even now. But still sounds human because it's got the different velocities on it that we talked about before. Okay, so still sounds pretty nice. Bass layer is exactly the same as it was before. Okay, so we should have this. Okay, and again, there are 4 of these. So I'm going to go copy 1. Why is that worked like that? Should have 4 bars worth. What happened? Oh, it's because I've zoomed in again. It's gone all weird. 1, 2. Ableton is funny. 2, 3. Okay, now the drums briefly stop at the start of the chorus, and then they do a different pattern. They don't do what we've had before, so we need to re-input our drums. And I have, trying to be helpful, again, I've put it in here, but it's really easy. All it is kick, snare, for 2 beats on each. That's all it is. Okay, it doesn't start straight away. There is a 4 gap. So your first section that you want on there, leave that blank. So you want to start about bar 42, assuming you've got the same number of bars as I have, which you should. Oh, I'm still in the piano track. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to record this. Really easy. Probably the easiest part we've recorded. Quantize. Okay, now it's fine. Again, you could leave it exactly like it is, and it would be fine. If you're pushed for time or you're finding things difficult or whatever, leave it like that and you've got it. But if you're looking to really push yourself, and remember, all of this is practice for when you will do this for real, okay, in your actual coursework, you could add an effect to it. And actually, what I should have done, I've completely messed up here. I should have created a new drum track and taken everything off it, because otherwise when I add the effect it's going to add it to everything. So what I should have done is get rid of that, and then these 3 should be in this new track. My mistake, sorry folks. Okay, so I'm going to go up to effects, and we need to change the way that drum sounds. Now, you can do this using something called equalization or EQ, which is where you change the frequency mix in your sound, and it makes it sound different. So I'm going to go audio effects, and one of these is EQ and filters. Channel EQ, and there's this beautiful one in EQ3, I think it is, called Midnight. And what that does is it chops the very top and the very bottom of the frequencies off, and it makes it sound kind of vintage, like this. Okay, it makes it sound like it's not been recorded properly. Incidentally, I'm using the solo tool there. I wanted to listen to one track only, so I clicked on the S, which makes it go blue. If you're only hearing one track, it probably means the solo track is on, so watch out for that. People leave it on by accident all the time. Now, again, you've got parameters down here for Midnight that you can change, and I'm going to change something. So I'm going to put one of these on loop, because I want more kick drum. So I want more low frequency. Okay, and I'm just adjusting them. Now, if you listen to the original Stormzy track, you will hear that a very similar EQ to that has been placed on the original drums, and it just helps it sound a bit better, to be honest. Okay, but you want some good news? That is the last thing we actually have to record. Everything else we can copy and paste out of our original. So I'm going to copy the bass. I'm going to start that at the same time as the kit. I'm just going to paste it straight through. I'm going to do the same thing with our backing vocals. I'm going to put them in the second half. Okay, and that should give us a full version of Stormzy's Crown. So this is the start of the chorus. There's the drums. Might want a bit more drum actually. Yep, I've got to like that. And that's it. That's all we're going to do in terms of playing it. There's a few more things we're going to mess around with just to make it sound even better. So, stereo. Stereo is a wonderful thing. You have two ears for a reason. It's so you can tell how far things away from you are and what side of you they are when you're listening to something. And we can use that to make things move around in the mix. Because you've got two speakers usually, either a pair of headphones or a pair of stereo speakers. We can alter the amount of things that's coming out of the different speakers to make things sound in different places. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to copy what Stormzy and presumably his engineer did with this recording, in that they moved some of the backing vocals into different sides. So if you look over here, we've got these gauges which say C. That C is for center. If you click on there and go one way, you can see it says the number is going up and it says R. That means 20 right. Okay. And I'm going to go down 20 left. So I'm splitting, not having them both coming out dead center. I'm having it coming out some out of the one part out of the left and one part out of the right. Okay. That works really effectively with the backing vocals. What I also want to do is just make the drums come out a little bit more forcefully in all sections. Now, I could just turn the volume up, but there's a better way of doing that. And the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to add some compression. Compression is where you squash an audio signal so that there's less difference between the loud stuff and the quiet stuff, and that has the effect of making everything appear to be louder. If you've got less difference between the loud and the quiet, everything will appear to be louder. So I'm going to go up to audio effects again. I'm going to click on dynamics this time, and the first one there is compressor. One of these is generic compressor. I'm going to drag it over to all three drum tracks, and I'm hoping that actually the default settings of the generic compressor will just help with all of these. Yeah, that's better. The kit is already popping without me actually turning it up. Okay, let's try here. Oh yeah, that is exactly the effect that I'm after. Just giving it a bit fuller, a bit warmer. Now you can adjust the compressor down here in the effects by moving this yellow dot. But if we don't need to, that actually sounds really quite nice. And actually, I'm already hearing that little bit of stereo separation. One's on one side of me, one's on the other with the backing vocals, and I like it a lot. And that's it. Okay, that is it. Let's listen to the whole project. So there's our intro. Little gap. Here's the rap. I'm not even going to attempt to do that. Liking all of that. We've got a little guitar notes in there. interesting. I turned them up earlier. Tempted to turn them down again. Here's the chorus. Here's our nice drums with our effect. And I've stopped here because that's the end of the material in the song. The rest of the song is repeats of what's going on. So you could, in theory, if you wanted the second verse in for the instrumental, which if you were creating a rap performance you would want, you could just literally copy and paste everything and put it in for a second time, and you'd have a full version of the song. So there we go. That's a lot of information, lot of new stuff, lot of things to have a go at, but I hope quite clear, click by click, for you to have a go at. The whole point of this is to go at your own pace. So start off. If you get stuck and you're finding the video difficult to follow, by all means ask for help. That's what your teachers are here for. But the more you do of this, the more you have a go, the more you try, and to be honest, the more you make mistakes. You've seen how many mistakes I've made in here. The more you make mistakes, the faster you will learn how to do things. This is a very hands-on course, a very hands-on project. So have a go. Hopefully this is useful, and see what you can come up with in terms of this fantastic grime track.